All right, up next, whether you're for, against, or undecided when it comes to Robert Downey Jr.'s casting as Doctor Doom for the MCU, there's no denying that the move has catapulted the cinematic universe back to the pinnacle of the zeitgeist and surrounding conversations. The actor has been quiet, save the 4 words he uttered at San Diego Comic-Con, new mask, new task, until last Tuesday's episode of the Award Chatter podcast from The Hollywood Reporter, where he shared insights into Bob Iger and Kevin Feige's direct involvement into the decision, with the latter expressing a desire to, quote, get Victor Von Doom right. Elsewhere, this week's episode of the official Marvel podcast shared a slew of comments from cast members of the MCU's upcoming films, including Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four First Steps. While some of these statements are more innocuous than others, many fans have taken them as clear indications of what to expect from these characters and movies. What stood out to us?
I think that last bit is just kind of it. The clips that they shared of the cast talking about those movies set the tone for what each of those movies is going to be. So First Steps is family focused, and it's about being together, and then Thunderbolts has this really kind of fun bro-y vibe to it, because they were definitely focusing on like Red Guardian and Russell Wyatt's character and all of that. And then Anthony Mackie is talking about the complicated world of Captain America that he's playing. So they were very specific to the tone of the films, and I think those are all things we expected from them, but it's good affirmation. Note to the official Marvel podcast, clean up your audio if you're going to cut it in like that. It sounded pretty janky. Sorry you don't have a Matthew Carroll on your side.
No.
As to the Victor Von Doom stuff with RDJ, I think it's smart for him to be pretty tight-lipped about this, because he's not stupid, and he knows that while this isn't divisive, it's just left a lot of question marks in a lot of people's heads, a lot of fans. And I think I stand by what I said back when we talked about it. His phrase is new mask, same task, and I think he has been brought in to treat this character carefully and with the kind of rigor and detail that Kevin Feige likes to see in these things. He knows the comics, he knows the lore, and he has the vision that we probably want to see coming out of Doom. So it makes sense. It's not really earth-shattering news, but it's nice to know kind of that guiding hand is there like we want it to be.
For sure. I saw a lot of people pointing out that this may settle the idea that this is Victor Von Doom and not a Tony Stark variant. But I don't know that it even does that. Like, maybe.
Yeah. They just got to come out and say that if that's what it is. At this, They just got to be clear about it.
Do they?
I don't know.
It's creating so much conversation and so much buzz.
I think they do.
Yeah, well, yeah. No,
eventually.
I read those comments, and like I saw the online conversation. I saw some YouTubers, some that I respect more so than others. I think, Matt, I know you've mentioned new rock stars over on the MCU cast. I don't know if we bring it up too often over here. I don't watch every video they put out, but I watch videos from time to time, because I do agree. I think they're doing something a little bit different than we are. They're doing comprehensive breakdowns and theorizing and whatnot. But I saw a video from them this week after these comments came out, and they were just like, we know exactly what the plan is for RDJ's return, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. It's just like, don't go like stating this is gospel. Like, this is speculation, so call it for what it is. Like, and I just maintain there's no way that they're spending upwards of $100 million to bring Robert Downey Jr. back. And if you want a comic accurate version of Doctor Doom, that mask is not coming off, and if it's coming off very, very seldomly, and you don't bring back the most recognizable face of the MCU for something like that. It's going to play into the fact that we know him as Tony Stark, and he's got to be some kind of variance. Like, even if he knows himself as Victor Von Doom and Doctor Doom and doesn't know his origins, he's connected to Tony Stark in some fashion. So beyond all that, Haley, I agree with you that I thought some of the comments from the other films kind of stood out to me. The Thunderbolts, particularly the bro-y atmosphere that you refer to, I think it's because they had...
They had all the bros.
They had the bros. They had Sebastian Stan, they had David Harbour, and they had Wyatt Russell all together. And you really did get that vibe that they are bros like that. But Sebastian Stan made a comment about Bucky being in Congress, and I don't know if that means that he's a statesman or a congressman or what, but that was certainly interesting. Yeah, he said, like, the other guys said their piece about what they're going to be doing, like Red Guardian's in a bad place. He's, kind of slovenly and what have you. John Walker is like constantly looking up bad press on himself, and then Bucky's just like, Bucky's in Congress, so they're all in a bad place, but he's in Congress, so take that for whatever it means. But then the other part that stuck out to me is like, highlighting some of the women from the Thunderbolts. Hannah John Kamen, who plays Ava Starr, our ghost, she mentioned how she is alone and she's a survivor. So thinking back what we've seen from that character, where we last left her off, she still was involved with Bill Foster, Lawrence Fishburne's Bill Foster. So I suspected that he was going to be a part of the proceedings in this movie. I don't know if he's been officially cast or not, but it actually sounds like he may not be in the picture. So I'll be curious to see if we get any of the gaps filled in there. And I know I'm being long-winded here, so just to kind of finally wrap it up, I really did love the comments between Eben Moss-Bachrach and Joseph Quinn as the other side of the Fantastic Four. Pedro and Vanessa got to show off some chemistry and some flirtation and stuff like that, which really landed. But I love this brotherly dynamic. They were talking about, doing sit-ups for each other to try and impress each other with their physique and whatnot. And that just sounds exactly what I want from, Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm. And I think we saw it in the promotional artwork. It looked like Johnny Storm had just like cracked some kind of wise crack at Ben Grimm. So continues to be one of the ones I'm most excited for.
Absolutely. I can't believe this Congress thing. We had someone wrote in our feedback last week, a few weeks ago on the MCU cast, and they asked like, hey, what if, now that Ross is the president, he'll need a new Secretary of Defense. What about Bucky? And I was like, there's no way, because he'd have to get congressional approval, and he's like a Soviet assassin for the last 60 years. Like,
no, we got short memory. We got short memories.
We apparently and apparently like for real. So like he's a Congress. I don't know if that's that's weird. That's really weird if he's a congressman, and if his past is known and he became a congressman, that's very strange. Also, like I just don't see that in his character. I gotta think that was a joke. I don't know. That's weird.
It was Sebastian, so you never know, because the way he's always kind of like, I don't know, like maybe I'm in Congress and doing stuff over there. I don't know. Like, the way he talks is so funny. Oh my God, Sebastian Stan.
One thing about the official Marvel podcast that I've found very funny is it's clear whenever someone comes on mic, they have been told the one piece of information they're allowed to divulge. Like every time they bring up something, true. it's like, hey, yeah, I'm in Congress. And it's like, that's it. And they will not talk about it further. And he's like, yeah, I am sad and looking at like, it's literally like Fiege with whatever, the Fiege snipers have told them one thing. You get one thing, and here is the exact words. Like they've got like one of those little ransom letters that they have to read.
Oh, the cutting room floor of that podcast is just full. It's littered with information. They just get in there and carve that thing up to death.
I don't think so at all. I think that thing's basically scripted. Like it seems very much like they're like, okay, this is the stuff you're allowed to say. Let's like give the exact piece of information we want to tease, and that is all. And don't say anything else.
Mackie's over there with like crib notes on his arm. He's like, okay, yeah, so things are bad. It's not a good time. We got Harrison Ford. That's cool.
One thing I did really like was him talking about his new Falcon.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And it just kind of, it kind of felt like he was shouting out the new actor who's going to be playing Falcon. He's been in that position before where he was the new sidekick for Captain America, right, and having to be accepted. And now there's a new guy doing that same role. And he's like, I'm going to make sure to show a lot of love to that guy. And like, that's cool. I like that a lot.